Welcome to the Overrated Experience Sports and Sports Betting Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Blondin, once again joined by
Austin from Ajax, baby.
Here we go. We got another week of sports betting action, but this time of year, we're going to focus on the NFL Week 14. If you haven't joined the Overrated Experience Sports and Sports Betting Podcast, we are a podcast that is dedicated to talking sports, looking at sports gambling, and we're kind of in between the sharp and the square. So, yes, we're going to use analytics to talk about why we take one way or another, but we are also suckers for action. Love the, the games on TV and stuff, so we're not so professional. So I think we are just like you for those who are tuning in, and for those who have tuned in consistently week over week. I'd like to thank you from all across the world. Austin, do you want to thank our listeners across the world?
Thank you across the world.
There you go. That's fantastic. So the Overrated Experience now in this type of time of year is focused on the NFL, and what we're going to provide you here today is a look at Week 14. We're going to talk about spreads. We're going to talk about over-unders. I don't have any props off the top of my head at the moment. I don't know if Austin's going to come through with a couple props this week as he kind of sifts through the lines. We're going to use FanDuel. We're not sponsored by FanDuel. We're not associated with FanDuel, but those are the lines we're going to be using. I would recommend that you do use multiple books so that you get the best lines, whether it be over-unders, spreads, and or props. Props is actually the biggest differentials between the books. You can follow the Overrated Experience on X at Overrated EXPER2. That's Overrated EXPER2. And that's you'll find the Overrated Experience. Also, Overrated Experience on YouTube. So if you listen on YouTube, you can find us there. How's it going, Austin? What's new? What's exciting? Enjoying the sudden shift to cold weather? You enjoy the cold weather?
Definitely not enjoying the cold weather. Still working like a dog, so not as on top of football as I would like, but I'm here to let you carry the
Okay, I would say that probably our marketing campaign shouldn't lead with "I'm not on top of it." Just to let you know. All right. So before we get to the NFL, what else is going on in the sports world's caught your attention? Maybe not NFL, but let me throw this at you. You're a Tarek Skubal fan for the Detroit Tigers. Why is there reports that they're looking or at least exploring trading him?
I mean, for in my perspective, the Detroit Tigers, I know they made it to the playoffs last year, and they were extra innings. They were literally one run away from advancing to the semifinals. But I don't think necessarily this is a team that could win a World Series. So I don't think it's crazy to shop him. I just think it would be crazy to panic sell him. But if they could get like a massive package, I'm not completely against that. Either that or they go all the way and start signing guys. So it's really, can they afford to do that?
Well, I mean, here's I guess my take on it. And maybe I don't have the insight in the Detroit scene that I thought I did. But unless Tarek Skubal is coming out saying, I demand a trade, or I'm not going to re-sign with you. And I don't recall his contract status, like right now where he is a free agent. I don't know if we have we should have like a admin here, like, Jamie on Joe Rogan that looks his stuff up. So Tarek Skubal contract. Okay, Tarek Skubal contract. He's on a 1-year 10-year arbitration deal okay, so he's basically on arbitration deal. It's not even like 1-year arbitration, 2002 before becoming a free agent, 2027. Okay. So I guess that would make sense that he's pending free agency heading into after next year. And the Detroit Lions are fearful that he'll walk for nothing, which is probably a real possibility.
Yeah. The problem with that team, it's even for me who, like, I'm pretty on top of baseball, but I'm trying to think, like, can I name 3 hitters off Detroit off the top of my head? Honestly, I can. I can think of Kerry Carpenter, and I can't even think of anybody else.
Right. Again, if I'm Detroit and it wasn't a demand for a trade or it wasn't a contractual situation, if I'm Skubal and I'm coming up after next season, am I going to sign a long-term contract in Detroit? Probably not. When the Dodgers, Yankees, Mets are going to be coming knocking at maybe the Blue Jays. Jays. I mean, they're throwing money around. So it's very interesting, the baseball scene right now. What else in baseball's standing out to you? I mean, the Jays signed Cease.
Yeah, that's a big signing.
That's a huge signing. But what else? What else we got?
I did see, I don't know if you saw, the Jays are shopping Barrios. Did you see that?
I did hear reports of that. It makes sense. I just wish they would have brought Bassett back. You know what I mean? To the
Yeah.
back end, that rotation. But Barrios looks like he might be on the back end, and they might be able to pick up something for him. Probably a smart move. Anything else in the baseball scene?
Nothing else I can think of for baseball right now.
Have you been betting any NBA?
No, no, not really. Nothing.
Honestly, like the NBA's falling off the radar for me right now. Like it has not.
The NBA is in a very interesting space. It's like anything, it feels like anything goes. You know, the bad teams are the good teams right now. The good teams are struggling, other than OKC, of course, and maybe the Nuggets, but it's a shit show. The fact that the Detroit Pistons are running the NBA right now should really go to show what we're talking about here.
Right. But even OKC, what, they're up 14 wins in a row right now?
Yeah.
But they're
such a complete team. They're
They
such a
are.
great team. And with like a top, Shai is obviously a top 3 player. So you got him, and then you just have this amazing cast around him, this amazing team with it seems like unlimited depth.
It is, but I mean, I don't see. See, there's the problem with the NBA, right? Like it's weird because OKC doesn't have that cachet. Like if the LA Lakers were running 14 straight, or the Golden State Warriors are 14, or the Knicks. It's such a quiet, maybe boring, dominant team in the NBA, and I don't know why that is. Because they're a complete team, it's not like they're raining threes all the time. Like it just doesn't have that same. Oh my God, I got to pay extra money to go watch this team when they come to town.
But I mean, I want to say they're like blowing teams out. I haven't really followed the scores of the game, but I was looking at some basketball lines yesterday, and I was seeing or I've seen it a couple times. Just OKC, minus 15, minus 16 team.
They're dominant though. So that's the NBA, and then the NHL. Man, I know you don't follow it as much as I do. The Leafs have won 3 straight. That's the big story here in Toronto. It looks like the panic is stricken. Even you find some of the kids out there that are, the Matthews fans, they're turning on the Leafs right now that they're not going to make the playoffs. And I won't mention any names for those outside of here, but they know who they are. It's just, it's amazing how fast the team, where you see all the jerseys, is now in the shitter. So it's a crazy time in sports. College football, we talked about that before the show. So right now we have the conference championships, a big day in college football. After today, the committee's going to go to the table and they're going to figure out the top 12 teams in the college football championship. This has been one of the best ads, in my opinion, in football, where the playout of the college football championship intertwines with the NFL playoffs. So you have games all over the place, whether it be college football, NFL, like important games. This is probably the best thing it could have done. The only thing they could do to enhance this is increase the college football playoff pool to 16 and then maybe avoid the buys. But I know you're not as jacked up for the college football, but this guy is. So I just want you, I want this be known, Austin, that I want you in 2026 to get a little more college football friendly. How about that?
Hey, with only a few playoff games today, I'll definitely be tuning in today. But man, it just seems like so much to keep up with. I struggle with in college football. There just feels like an unlimited amount of teams.
Imagine we went into college basketball.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Are you able to do you know how like the number of teams? I have no clue.
In college football?
Yeah, like even ballpark answer.
I don't
like
know.
A couple hundred?
Probably, yeah. And there's also Division I. There's another. It's insane. But how about college basketball? There is unbelievably amount of teams. I can't believe there's schools in these places that there's so many of these teams. So college basketball is the next big thing because we lead to March Madness, which is amazing. Get your brackets ready.
Obviously, it's still a bit of a ways away, but in March, I hope we get a big bracket going with a lot of the listeners here on the show. That'd be a lot of fun.
That'd be good, man.
Even if we can't, even if we don't do it for money and we just do it for bragging rights for people that are across the world or whatever, that'd be pretty cool.
Now, one last thing before we get into the NFL is yesterday in Washington, we seen the draw for the World Cup. So, did you know this?
No, I'd love to hear this.
Okay, so basically we had the World Cup draw, and so now we know where Canada's going to be playing. So here it is. And keep in mind, for those listeners out there, there are still 4 spots left for Europe to still play out. So you're going to notice that some, like for Canada's division, right now they have Switzerland and Qatar All right. And then the winner of I think the A or B bracket for the European playoff that's going to happen in March. And guess which team? Tell me a European team do you think would drive chaos if Canada was playing this European team at BMO Field in Toronto? A European team. Come on, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. You're
Look at my fingers. Italia, hey, stupido, stupido. So right now they have an opportunity to take on Italy. I'm not an Italy fan, but man, that would be amazing if we somehow were able to figure out and get Italy into that bracket. Just look at the.
And odds are that game's taking place in Toronto.
I don't know. It could be Vancouver, it could be Toronto, but I'm hoping Toronto. So Italy is facing off against Wales, Northern Ireland, and Bosnia Herzegovina. So I'm hoping Italy does make a run there. The only thing I would comment on the rest of the divisions, they've expanded the World Cup number of teams in there to, I think it's like 48 teams. I didn't really think about this. I should have known this before coming in. But what happens is you got all these divisions of 4, and you got a powerhouse and with other teams. Like Brazil's in the same group as Haiti. Do you think Haiti? What do you think a Brazil-Haiti matchup looks like?
I mean, I don't know. I don't follow soccer a lot, but when the World Cup comes around, I'm always following pretty much every single game. And I remember last year, I know they went on to win the whole thing, but I remember watching Argentina, and I think it was Saudi Arabia, I'm almost sure. And Saudi Arabia upset them, and everyone's like, holy shit, this is the greatest thing ever. So although it's like an expected win of a game, that 1% scenario of the team actually losing is always like, holy shit, if it happens. But obviously a boring game that you just expect an easy win.
So what I'll tell you,
kind of one you pencil in, but
what I'll tell you about that is that there's a certain level of football right now, and I'll say European football, where coaching strategy has taken teams and grown the number of competitive teams. So you have the Saudi Arabia and the Moroccos of the world, which are solid teams, but they play such a tight defensive style or brand of football that it's not easy on the eyes, and these are 1-0 wins and et cetera, et cetera. But Haiti's not there. Haiti's not at that, level. And there's going to be some teams are just going to get fucking blown out in this. It's going to be wild. But the idea, and you got to remember FIFA. Honestly, man, it's not understand. They're a bunch of criminals. And back in the day, you would do a World Cup draw, and you would know exactly that this team is slotted here, so that means they're already playing in Toronto for this game. You know that as the schedule gets announced today, that it's going to maximize Argentina playing them New York or the big Chicago and stuff like that. It's not as pure as it maybe once was.
You're saying is it's basically rigged for them to make money? Is that what you're saying?
1,000,000%. Yes.
But did they claim that it's a real draw? Is that what you're saying?
It's a real draw, but I don't believe it's 100% random. Let's say that. They're here to maximize the revenue. And even something that took my attention. So the city of Toronto, because we're one of the host cities, FIFA demands that the city has to send bylaw officers within I think a 2-mile radius of BMO Field, the field that is going to host some of these World Cup games. And they have to ensure that the bars are not advertising using trademarked FIFA World Cup material. So if a bar is showing a picture of the World Cup trophy, for example, they have to come in and, give a ticket to the bar.
Holy crap. That's
so
actually
that's
insane.
The kind of tight lock they have on any money being made on this tournament. Pathetic. Wow. Whatever. Anyway, it'll be big time. I want you ready for the World Cup. I want to talk about it. We're gonna have absolute number of podcasts related to the World Cup, man. It's the biggest event in our lifetime here in Toronto.
When it comes to the World Cup specifically, when it comes to soccer, I can get into that. I acknowledge it is probably the biggest sporting event
ever
in the world.
Toronto. In Toronto. This will be
in Toronto, the biggest. But I'm just saying the World Cup in general, that's the peak of kind of sports passion, and you know what I mean? So I love to follow that, and it's always a fun time.
Okay. So now we're done that. We're going to kick off the NFL. We're not going to look too much into the past. We just kind of briefly went over our picks last week. They're garbage. I can't believe the run of garbage. And I'm just trying, maybe just quickly we'll jump on some of the plays that we had last week. We both looked at Tennessee to cover 6.5, and Jacksonville absolutely pasted them, which is surprising because Jacksonville was on upset alert heading into that weekend, but they took care of business. How bad is Tennessee?
Tennessee, I believe, is the worst team in football.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Let me throw it up there. Tennessee or the Raiders?
I'd rather have the Raiders because at least they have, I don't know, they have some talent that could maybe come through a couple times a season at least. I know Tennessee has one win, but
The Raiders are like a ghost ship going nowhere. Like fuck, we're in the middle of the ocean. There's a lot of fog. The waves are big, and we got no engine. We're not going anywhere. Pete Carroll has been such a disaster bring him in to run this team. Like the idea of bringing Pete Carroll in to lead the Vegas Raiders was a stability factor, a foundation to get this program up and running. It's been the complete opposite. They've fired coordinators. It's just not working, guys. Vegas is in a messy place, and they need to sit down and say, look, we need to blow this up. We need to rely on a draft. We need to be smart about this. But what we're doing ain't working. It ain't working. Tennessee at least has Cam Ward with the hopes they don't screw it up and this guy develops into a franchise quarterback because that's what he was drafted for. So I think the stock is a little more up on Tennessee than it is Vegas, but I guess we'll see how it plays out in the next 2 to 3 years.
I guess when it comes to Vegas, I think Geno Smith, I think Genty, I think Pete Carroll, I kind of think those three guys, and then like obviously they're all underperforming, but then I think of Tennessee, and I'm like, who the hell? Like, where's the even potential? I don't know Cam Ward as much as you. I don't know these young quarterbacks coming in from the college football, but like I think of Tennessee, and I don't think of any strong points. At least the Raiders have something. That's the only reason I put them ahead of my power rankings.
The Raiders are absolute trash. And just a couple other items from week 13. I don't know if you've seen how Justin Herbert had a broken hand. He gets it wrapped up, comes back, and beats this Raiders team. This guy's tough, man. This guy is tough. He's going to play.
I did not see that. Obviously, he broke his non-throwing hand, right?
No, it was throwing hand. No, just kidding. It was no, I'm kidding.
It's like holy shit. No, you got me there. You got me.
I was watching this game, and he threw a ball. He got hit with the helmet on his hand. You see him running to the locker room. Trey Lance came in for a series for the Chargers, and then you see Herbert run back in. He's got a giant glove. It looked like a fake hand, like a fake, because it was so wrapped up,
like a foam finger.
Yes, it did look like a foam finger. He's got two fingers like slinged together, and he's slinging it. He comes back and he slings it. So this guy is a gamer. Love Justy Herbert on the Chargers. Thought that was a good story, but we'll see how that hand holds up when they play against the Eagles this week.
Would you put the elite tag on a guy like Justin Herbert? Like if you're just talking elite quarterbacks of the NFL, you could choose 5 guys. Let's say it's the top 5 guys. Is he in that list?
That's a good question because I put him up in elite talent, but I got to see a playoff win. I got to see a victory in the playoffs. I need to see at least a wild card victory before we start putting him into, because we need wins, man. That's what quarterbacks are measured by, wins. And you know what? Sometimes quarterbacks are victims of the teams they're on. But I think Justin Herbert's had some games in his hand that he could have controlled the outcome a little better in previous seasons.
Yeah. I think the perfect example would be Joe Burrow. His other than Jamar Chase, he doesn't have too much around him, but that's a quarterback that's good enough to carry his teams to, I believe they went to the Super Bowl, right? So they didn't win it, but
they lost to the Rams in the Super Bowl a few years back. Yeah. That's right.
But, I got to assume at some point in his career, Justin Herbert will carry the team to some sort of playoff run.
Well, remember, they're in the same division as the Patty Mahomes and Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos, so it might be tough, but maybe they'll have a run like the Bengals did. But anyway, we're going to move on to week 14 of the NFL, and times are changing. This is the last week for most fantasy, last league week for most fantasy teams, right? Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's accurate. It's the last week going into playoffs next week.
Any thoughts there? Any waiver wire pickups you could recommend before Sunday?
I don't have no, I don't have any waiver pickups. I did mention the other week picking up CJ Stroud,
Yeah.
and he had a really bad first week in fantasy. I think he had under 5 points, but I know I can't name it off the top of my head, but I know he has a good matchup this week. And here, let me just check.
Okay.
I know he's got a good matchup this week, and he is a good
Well, he's got
play.
Kansas City.
Yeah, yeah. I think that should be a high scoring game, so I like him this week.
All right. Any other waiver wire? Like, I mean, the running back pool is like dead. It's hard. It's very hard to find a running back that's actually going to see touches. I know that Algier from the Falcons was on many waiver wires, which was the only pickup that I could see that was worthwhile. And receivers wise, like again, thin pickings here. Man, you're dead if you're relying on Algier on the waiver wire or anybody else. So tough one for some fantasy owners out there with some injuries and maybe limping into that final week. And most pools are top 6. Would you say that's accurate for the most part? Not all, but top 6.
I'm in a couple that are top 8, but I really I don't like having more than 50% of the people make playoffs. It just doesn't feel right. And I also like to incentivize the 1 and 2 seed to get that bye week. So I'm always an advocate for the 6. If you're 14 and you're 8, that's very different. But for a 12-man league, I don't think you go any more than 50% of the league making playoffs.
Because the 6 allows you to add 2 buys for the top performing owners.
And for those of us that play on Fantasy Yahoo, very stupid, but if you, as the commissioner, you pay that monthly fee for the premium, you can actually set it to a 7-man playoffs, which is kind of interesting because then that number 1 seed only gets to the playoffs. And I've always wanted to try that one because honestly, it does sound really cool, especially for a 14-man. But I'm not paying that extra fee. Yahoo,
you have to pay an extra fee to just
oh
my god,
Yahoo has been money grabbing lately. I don't know if you saw. You know how you set your weekly lineups week by week?
Yeah.
For like a 3 or 4 day stretch, they didn't allow you to do that anymore, and they were asking for money. But so many people complained that they actually just bought it back for free, and it's like, what the hell are these guys doing here?
They're testing the waters. That's what they're doing because it will eventually, potentially, turn into more and more of the common features we've known for years to be fee based. So
yeah,
you watch out. They're like everything gets screwed in this world where there's such demand, it. Like, Red Zone. Hey, we can put commercials on here. Who's going to turn away Red Zone now? Right? We're going to put commercials on here. It's going to happen. Netflix. Okay, we got, it's been 10 years. We got enough subscribers. Now we're going to lock you into telling us your location. Right?
Yeah.
They have the power, and I expect Yahoo is going to exercise that power in the not too distant future. Maybe even we'll see it in March Madness because Yahoo's one of the big providers for the brackets. I hate it, man. It's amazing. The little guy just can't blow off some steam, play some fantasy football without getting screwed.
Yeah. Like, I understand, listen, if you want to throw a couple ads on the top right or top left of the screen and make money that way, we're all for that, But to actually take away tools that we've been using for years to try to make a quick buck, that's how you're going to lose people using your app.
You will.
There's a lot of good, Yahoo's not even the best fantasy football app out there. It's just the most convenient, the most common. That's all it is.
What's better?
There's an app called Sleeper, and I've used it for 2 fantasy football leagues, not as the commissioner, but it's just so much more advanced. There's so much more things you can do, bells and whistles. I'll be honest, a lot of it is overkill, but it adds to the entertainment, Like you can, for example, a couple of things you can do on Sleeper over Yahoo. You can go through your team and like, this guy's up on the trade block. So you can go to somebody's teams who's available, who they're willing to trade. You can even give your players nicknames, stuff like that. Like it's very in-depth.
Okay. Well, that's the fantasy world. And guys, don't worry. I'm recently going to start posting all the different chapters of these podcasts so that you can jump to the area where if you're just looking for picks, you're looking for conversation about the NFL, you can quickly skip ahead to that moment. So I feel comfortable talking about other items because the flexibility will provide.
I really like that. As a podcast listener, somebody who listens to a lot of other podcasts, I'll do that a lot where I go in and look for the specific game or the specific topic, and good on you for doing that.
Yeah, good on me. Good on me for the people. I do it for the people. Anyway, let's go for the people and talk about NFL Week 14, and we're going to kick it off With the Miami Dolphins heading into MetLife Stadium to take on the New York Jets, the Miami Dolphins are 3-point favorites. 41.5 is the over-under. And don't look now, but the Miami Dolphins are within shouting distance, potentially, of making a late wild card run. So they're 5-7. Is that kind of record when I say that surprise you that the Dolphins are now at 5-7?
No, I'm not surprised that the Dolphins are 5-7 team. I guess I'm more surprised that they're 5-7 and have a shot at the playoffs still. Yeah. I mean, going into the year, I would have said Miami's, a 500 team. They're one of those teams that like to beat up on the weak guys.
That's exactly how they got back in the race here.
Yeah.
So in this matchup, Tyrod Taylor again starts for the Jets, which is again better. I mean, the report that Justin Fields is out really was insignificant this game with a foot injury. Tyrod Taylor is allowing the Jets at least to put some points on the board. They get a win last week. The Jets are flying high. Jets are actually 3-9. But what are your thoughts here? What do you see happening?
You know what? I just mentioned how the Miami Dolphins are a team that like to beat up on the weaker teams, and I think they beat up on the Jets this week. I think Waddle gets it going. Big game for Waddle. And -3. I like that money at even money plus 100.
All right, I'm going to take the Dolphins as well. I do think that they're beating up on the weaker teams here. I do define the Jets still as a weaker team, even though they've improved over the last little bit. So I think the Dolphins are on a nice run. Here's a thought process is that they're not playing in Miami. They're playing in New York or New Jersey, technically. In the weather, it's going to be colder. Tua is not known for being a great cold weather quarterback, but I'll stick with the pick. I'll take Dolphins at -3. I do think there'll be some points scored in this game, so I'm going to take the over 41.5. What do you think about the over-under?
Lock me in for the 41.5 as well.
Okay, so you're on the over-under,
yeah, and
40.5. Yep.
I will say, even though I didn't come prepared with the betting props, I got a feeling, and I want to make sure it's worth it.
Okay.
But I got a feeling that Breece Hall gets in the end zone for a touchdown, even though I'm on the side of Miami here.
Okay, go check it. Check it right now. Come on, pressure's on.
Okay,
let's go.
Wait, sorry. Breece Hall plus 100. I think you lock in that bet. We both think it's going to be the over. I wouldn't be surprised if Devon Achane.
But you're going with Breece Hall. That's the one you're going to commit to on the pod.
Lock in for Breece Hall plus 100 on the week.
Okay, so
also,
Breece Hall, yeah.
Not making it a lock, but Waddle at plus 180 is also a good pick.
To score a touchdown?
To score a touchdown. These are touchdown scoring bets. If you got the boost this week, I'd be looking at these guys here.
So you're locking it in. Which one?
I'm locking in Breece Hall at plus 100.
But that's what you're going to commit to.
Breece Hall.
So we're going to call Waddle a value play? Okay, so that doesn't mean you're locking in. You're just saying it's a value play.
I'm just saying it's a value play. You got that boost, and then you're getting 3-1 on him. I take that.
Okay, the lock meaning that for Breece Hall, you feel that this is going to happen.
Yeah, like put that against my record. That's what I'm trying to say.
But Waddle is more of a value play for people to think about. Okay, here we go. So we head on to your boy Sammy Darnold. Sammy heads into Atlanta as 6.5-point favorites to take on the absolute pitiful Atlanta Falcons. This team is going nowhere fast. Raheem Morris is done. I got to believe he is done with the Atlanta Falcons. They need to go in a different direction. The game is 44.5. Seattle's on a bit of a tear, but you got a little more confidence in Sammy Darnold than I do. I don't think there's a problem with them getting it done here in Atlanta, but what are your thoughts before I make my play?
Seattle is also another team that beats up on the weak teams. And, I think easily here they win over a touchdown. Looking at this line at 6.5, I'm looking at my chops here. Last week my record wasn't the best, but I do want to mention Atlanta does have one of the best weapons in football in Bijan Robinson. He went absolutely off last week. I think I mentioned that. I'm not sure if I won the bet or exactly the outcome, but yeah, I don't think it's enough this week against Seattle. Give me Seattle and give me the over 44.5.
Over 44.5, and that's just like one-way punching, right? So Seattle's going to be punching and Atlanta's going to be taking in. Is that the idea?
Maybe like 30-14, something like that.
I know a lot of fantasy owners were not too happy with the Seattle Seahawks last week because Njigba didn't really have his monster type of performance. Wasn't getting fed the ball, so maybe that picks up now. But Njigba, one of the top receivers in the NFL, maybe the best this season.
Yeah.
So
easily.
Fantasy owners are depending on him to come through in a critical week this week. So we'll see what happens. But you'll take Seattle. I have no reason to take Atlanta, so I will continue to align with you on that. I'm going to say under the 44.5. I don't think I'm as confident that the Seahawks will blow them away. I think they will be a little bit more pressing once they take the lead and try to kill the clock and run it out with Kenneth Walker. So that's my take there. All right, we move on to New Orleans into Tampa Bay. We had Baker, your boy. Who would you say your boy is more? Would you say Baker? If you had to man, this is my guy. Am I going with Baker or am I going with Sammy Darnold?
You know what? Give me the filet-o-fish, Sam Darnold.
My God, man.
Just because, Baker, as good as he is, everyone knows that he's good, and I don't feel like Sam Darnold gets enough respect. So I gotta go out more for the guy that needs it. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
pity. That's
I'm standing up right now. I'm standing up for the nerdy kid in the class, and I'm saying this kid gets it done.
Wow, standing up for the nerdy kid in the class.
I'm standing up for the nerdy kid in the class. I'm bringing 2 fish fillet combos, and we're sitting there in the back.
Also, so if you had a choice between 2 retro Carolina Panther jerseys, because obviously they were both teammates at one point, you would take the Sam Darnold's retro Carolina Panthers jersey.
Yes, I would.
Oh, my God.
They made a terrible mistake passing it on from him. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. What about this game is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 8.5-point favorites. Over-under is 41.5. The Buccaneers get by last week over the Cardinals. Wasn't really impressive, but Baker was pretty tough fighting through that shoulder injury on his non-throwing arm. Do you think they can cover 8.5 over the Saints?
You know what? If I'm being honest, I think this is exactly where I'd set the line. That being said, because Baker is my second boy, I will still, just because we got to make a pick here. I'll take the minus 8.5, and that also translates to me taking the over here. Give me the over. I think both teams kind of score some points here. I think it's more like 45 to 50 points. So give me the over. Give me Tampa Bay minus 8.5.
All right, so I'm gonna go along with Tampa Bay. I can't trust New Orleans. They're a field goal max team versus going for touchdowns and executing in the red zone. I do think that's only 41.5, but I'm gonna still stay under. I'll stay under on that one. So that's an interesting game. No Alvin Kamara for the Saints again this week. So that's a big weapon that's out. I think Olave is questionable. I don't know what Shook, the rookie quarterback, has as far as weapons. So I'll take Tampa Bay as well. All right. Washington Commanders take on the Minnesota Vikings headed in Minnesota, and the Commanders are a 1.5 favorite. Jaden Daniels looks like he's back for the Commanders. J.J. McCarthy looks like he'll be available for the Vikings. The Vikings quarterback situation is absolute mess at the moment. Washington put up a great fight against Denver with Marcus Mariota, lost in overtime, heading for the 2-point conversion. And then we have this over-under is 43.5. Where do you analyze this game? What stands out to you here? And by the way, folks, if you see me looking away, I'm watching a soccer game, Aston Villa and Arsenal, and I'm a degenerate bettor, so that's why I'm watching for corner kicks at the moment. So go ahead.
I don't want anything to do with betting alongside this Minnesota team. Maybe eventually when McCarthy figures it out, there will be value here, but we haven't reached that point yet. So I'm going to go with the Washington Commanders minus 1.5. And you know what? I'm going to take the under for this game. I think both teams struggle to score.
It's hard to disagree with that. I mean, the Minnesota Vikings, to me, Kevin O'Connell was a good coach. I mean, when he had Kirk Cousins, and then he didn't have Kirk Cousins due to injury, he was able to slice and dice a quarterback situation that was effective with many guys. This is where I thought he was a quarterback whisperer, right? This is where I thought if he thought and assessed that J.J. McCarthy was the guy and it was worth giving up Sam Darnold, again, another guy who has to thank Kevin O'Connell for his success and the resurgence, it just hasn't been done. None of the plays after Darnold left with J.J. McCarthy, even Wentz was kind of like, Wentz has a peak. He's not going to go higher than what you see. Some good, a lot of bad. J.J. McCarthy's not developed yet. It's just not looking good. So I think Washington easily handles the Minnesota Vikings on the road with Jaden Daniels back. And this game, to me, also stays under.
I actually for some reason, I really like Washington here.
I think it's way too low, the spread, don't
Yeah.
you? Well, -1.5. Like, what has Minnesota done?
Yeah, I could see that being like 3.5 easily.
Like, and then if you're looking across your fantasy opponent and you see Justin Jefferson, do you really feel threatened?
No, not anymore. And that is, to me, that's one of the craziest things to say because he's the most talented wide receiver in football, potentially.
He is, but the
Yeah,
the
he
weird
is.
thing
Yeah.
is that we always wonder why these wide receivers talk a lot of trash and complain about getting the ball, a la AJ Brown. And this is maybe one of the reasons why when you don't have a quarterback that can feed you the ball, you're
Yeah.
insignificant.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that plays out tomorrow. But we also have a tale of two teams here in Jacksonville. The Indianapolis Colts on a bit of a slide
Mhm.
ahead into Jacksonville, and Jacksonville suddenly leading the division. Remember, Indy was running away, and then Jacksonville was kind of up and down, and now they're top dogs in this AFC division here. It's amazing how the NFL is only 17 games, but there's such swings
Yeah.
every year. So this is one of them. Colts are still favorite, 1.5, and Jacksonville's an underdog. Don't understand why they're. And the over-under is 46.5. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, it kind of blows my mind that after Indianapolis gives away their first round pick, they go on this skid. But I think we both believe, even though Jacksonville's been amazing, I can't speak for you, but it kind of seems like sometimes they're frauds. That team that's going to be in the first round of the playoffs and then kicked out. I feel the same way I do about last game. I want to say. With Washington and Minnesota, the same way I kind of feel about Indianapolis and Jacksonville here. I think this line could easily be -3.5 for the way of the Colts.
Okay.
And I think the Colts make a statement this week. So I'm going with the Colts. The over and under is kind of set right where I would probably set it myself.
Okay.
I'm just on a feeling I'm gonna take the under.
You're going to take the under, okay?
Yeah.
It sounds like you're on Indy in this one?
Yeah, I'm on Indy, and I'm on Indy pretty heavily here.
Ooh.
I'll probably yeah. -1.5.
Here's what I'm looking at. I'm not going to look at Indy at the first 8 weeks of the season. I'm going to look at Indy, what I've seen over the last few weeks, and that is a team that's going in the wrong direction. Daniel Jones, is he hurt maybe? I mean, I am scared that he is going to give up turnovers, sacks, things like that, interceptions. They're not the same offense that they were. Their D has never been that great. Sauce is out. Sauce Gardner is out. And that's they went all in on that play on D to help that out, and that's not going to come through. He's out. I don't know how long he's going to be out, but he's not going to be in this game. Jacksonville looks to be on a better trajectory here. There's something about a team where obviously they're not performing as high level as they did before, but when they start losing to, let's say, Houston last week because of a significant extra point miss, like a significant issue was a missed extra point that put them down 4 eventually at the end of the game instead of a field goal away, which they could have tied. It's just terrible. Like there's just something going wrong here with the Colts, and hope maybe they'll turn it around, but I just don't think they're going to do it this week. I'll take Jacksonville, and I'll take the over 46.5. I think this might be a bit of a back and forth kind of game. All right, here is an interesting matchup. I would say the Pittsburgh Steelers, plus 5.5. Once were division leaders, now they're not. Heading into Baltimore, the division rival, to take on the Ravens. But the Ravens, coming off a Thanksgiving night loss to the Cincinnati Bengals, Joey Burrow makes his return, and Bengals get the job done. So both teams kind of limping in here. The Steelers losing against the Bills, and it seems like the Steelers' offense has disappeared. And it looks like Aaron Rodgers' age has caught up to him. Honestly, I thought, and I was a proponent, that the best move for the Steelers only option was to bring in Aaron Rodgers, but I think maybe the magic might be dwindling here for A-Rod. Let's hope I'm wrong. And then he's calling out teammates last week about running wrong routes, etc. So that's not a good sign.
Yeah, I think I saw that one as well.
Yeah, so it's not a good scenario right now. But the Steelers are 5.5. I like the Steelers here, man. I like the cover. I don't see the Ravens being this dominant the last 4 or 5 weeks since Lamar came back from injury. So give me the Steelers to cover. They're always played, no matter what situation the Steelers are in, they played Baltimore tough. This game does go over 43.5. What do you think here?
I think I honestly would have went with Baltimore, but the points that you made, we're not betting the straight up win here. We're betting the spread. And you're absolutely right. Baltimore has not been blowing teams out of the water. They even lost last week. So, I'm going to take Pittsburgh 5.5 here, and I'll take the over. I'll take the over 43.5.
Okay. All right. So then we go into an absolute barn burner here, and that is the Tennessee Titans headed to Cleveland. So Cam Ward takes on Shedeur Sanders, both guys coming out of this year's draft. The Cleveland Browns are 3.5-point favorites. This game is a absolute Titanic over-under of 33.5. 33.5 for an NFL football game. Yeah.
Is that the lowest total of the season?
I don't know, man. This is bad. Like, and if you put a teaser of 6 points on it, we're talking down to 27.5. This is pathetic.
That's crazy.
Tell me
Holy
what you got.
shit.
What are you thinking? What's your insights on this barn burner of a matchup?
Tennessee Titans, I was talking about how I think they're the worst team in football. Browns, they're pretty rough to watch, but they got Myles Garrett, maybe one of the top defenders. Their defense has shown a lot of signs of life this year. So give me the Browns 3.5. I don't want to have anything to do with the Titans. I might just not pick them I might just go against them the rest of the season despite of the spread. They're that bad.
Did you say over 33.5?
Well, I got to take the over 33.5.
Yeah.
That's if it goes under that, man, you really shouldn't have watched.
I'm going to go crazy here. I'm going to go with the Titans. You're two bad football teams. I think Cam Ward
You're doubling down.
I'm doubling down on the Titans.
You're doubling down.
They're my boys. Cam Ward is going to get the job done here against Shedeur.
Cam Ward, dark horse for MVP. Finishes the season strong.
It's a real dark horse, and the odds are probably very, very good if I take that. But the odds of winning are not so good.
And just to mention, there we got to look at relook at the MVP odds before the end of the episode here.
Okay, we will do that. So we head into an actual big matchup here. We have a big matchup, and that is the Buffalo Bills hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. And the Bengals are not out of it. The Bengals are not out of it here. So the Bengals sit at 4-8, right? But the division is within reach, right? With 6-6, Baltimore leading the way.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a very good shot, and they got a head-to-head win against Baltimore.
Yeah, is this the game of the day here for you?
Maybe. This may be the game of the day. Yeah, that could be it. Maybe. Okay.
Game of the day, Monday. I really do like Philadelphia Chargers, but I think this is the game to watch here with Joey Burrow and Josh Allen.
I think so. So that's the thing. That's the key is with Joey Burrow, he has a good track record against the Bills, man. He doesn't get intimidated at all by this Buffalo Bills situation. He's come into Buffalo before and won. So we're gonna see how this goes with the Bills and Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are plus 5.5, which I'll take that all day.
Yeah, and I do just want to mention another case for being the best game of the day. The over and under for this game is 53.5, and that is a lot of points. That is a lot of points compared to all the other spreads. I don't think anything else this week touches 50.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to take the over in this one. I'll take Cincinnati to cover. What do you think's going to happen? Remember we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Cincinnati's going to get Joey Burrow back. Yeah. You're going to make that late push again, and you're going to be left wondering, oh, man, if they just turned it on a couple weeks ahead of time and just squeezed out this win against the Bears earlier, didn't choke against the Jets, all that sort of stuff, they'd be a playoff team. Same old story.
Yeah, we've read this story before.
So what are your plays here?
Yeah. Give me Cincinnati plus 5.5. I don't know if they win, but I think this game, if the Bills win, it's probably could be within a field goal.
Okay.
The over and under is a really tough one because these teams are going to go back to back, punch for punch. You know what? I'll take the over. It's a tough one. It being a lot of points, but I'll take the over 53.5.
Okay, so we're both on the same side here. All right, and we're gonna move on. Let me just make sure I got every line here. So. We have not the game of the day, but we have an interesting matchup with. I'm missing games here. I screwed up here. So we have
the next one should be Denver and Raiders.
Yeah, Denver, Las Vegas, but I think I missed the huge Bears.
That's next on the list.
So that's the game of the day.
This game is 406. That game is 426.
Right,
so
but
Denver should be.
We'll get to the Green Bay, but isn't that the game of the day? Bears and Packers, two best teams in the NFC.
I mean, it's a great game. Don't get me wrong, but Bills, Cincinnati for me, it's like two of the best quarterbacks in football. Where it's like these are kind of good teams. Don't get me wrong, but these are good teams this year. Where it's like this is like rivalry for years. The last couple of years between Burrow and Allen. So it's a matchup everyone wants to see.
The Bears have the best record in the NFL.
Wow, that is crazy.
Do they? No, they don't. Sorry.
No, Denver?
Sorry.
Is Denver?
I'm
Or
sorry.
Patriots?
I apologize. Bears have the best record in the NFC. New England has the best record in the NFL, followed by the Broncos. So my bad. Anyway, we have the Denver Broncos, 7.5-point favorites heading into Vegas to take on the Las Vegas Raiders, who are absolute junk. 40.5 is the over-under. I can't, in my mind, take anything that has to do with Las Vegas. I'm going to take the Raiders. I'll take the over for the heck of being an over fanatic. What do you think here?
The over is an easy one, in my opinion, at 40.5. Give me Denver over, or sorry, -7.5. I think that, Denver doesn't necessarily have like a elite running back, but they have multiple running backs that are like decent. And I think, these guys being fresh like that, I think they run all over Las Vegas this week. Maybe a big game for RJ Harvey.
Right.
Yeah, the Las Vegas Raiders, although I don't think they're the worst team in the NFL, I think they're easily bottom 5. Denver, second best record in football. I do think it's a little fraudulent. They've had a lot of tight games, a lot of games that have come down to the field goal, and that's gotten them the win. But they are a legit team, a legit defense. Their offense can shine when it needs to. Give me Denver over or -7.5.
All right. And sorry, did you say the over-under? You like the over?
Yep, I like the over.
Okay, 1 second here. Ooh, I don't know if I forgot to write these games down. I don't know why. What the hell? Some big games here. 1 second. Please hold. Please hold. -2.5 for the Eagles and Chargers. Okay. So what we have here is we have now the game of the day, according to everybody else but you, is we have the Chicago Bears taking on the Green Bay Packers. And what a slap in the face that the Packers are 6.5-point favorites.
Yeah. That is a slap to the face.
What a slap in the face that is to Bears fans. Again, I'm not necessarily on the Bears bandwagon, but even I know this is a slap to a team that walked into Philadelphia and handled the Eagles pretty easily, that the Packers are 6.5-point favorites here. I mean, where do you see this going?
No, I agree with you. Even though I haven't necessarily taken them every week, I've given the Bears a lot of respect this season. Their offense is one of the most entertaining offenses to watch. I think they're one of the most entertaining teams to watch in football. And yeah, you're right here. I'm not saying Green Bay shouldn't be the favorite, especially being at home, but I think it should be closer to like maybe 3 points opposed to 6.5. And let me ride with the Bears this week plus 6.5. The over and under is a little trickier here, less confident, but I'll take the over.
Yeah, that's disgusting. I can't believe the bettors have pushed this line to 6.5. What about the over under 44.5?
Yeah, give over.
Okay.
Over. Yeah.
Over. Both on the same side. Now we have another matchup here. The Cardinals. Sorry, let's circle back to the Bears game. So Dunze is out. He's not playing.
Dunze's out.
Yes.
I did not. To me, man, for somebody who has him in half my leagues and in a lot of my leagues, I need to win this week to get into the playoffs. That's actually detrimental. And I did not hear this news.
Wow, that was a crushing piece of news. So do you still stick with the Bears to cover though?
Depressed on air right now.
Yeah. Do you still stick with the Bears? Okay.
No, I'm still taking the Bears. You know what? Even there's been a lot of blowout games where they actually don't use a Dunze at all. Kind of tragic, but I think they can get it they can get it done without him.
Okay. And then the Rams into Arizona. I was shocked the Rams lost the way they did against the Panthers. The Panthers seemed again to be that weird team that look like garbage one week against San Francisco, then can't stop responding to scores from the Rams and get key turnovers from their D. So the Rams, key loss last week, but they are 8.5-point favorites into Arizona. Arizona announced that Kyler Murray is done for the season, so we'll continue to see Jacoby Brissett under a quarterback, which he's done a fine job. The Cardinals just can't get it done. They just cannot close out a game. They cannot, just finalize a victory. So I like the Rams here to cover. I think they rebound. I think they rebound in a strong fashion. What do you think?
I agree. That was a shocker of a game. Panthers have just been the craziest team to watch this season if you're talking about just the results. But yeah, I think Los Angeles, which realistically could be the best team in football this year. I'm not sure if anybody really knows, but give me Los Angeles to rebound -8.5. I think they win by double digits. But even though it's a contradicting bet, give me the under 47.5. I think the Cardinals struggle to score here.
I take the over. So I like the
Rams
Rams
being
as
like
well.
28-7 or something like that.
Yeah. All right, we have the interesting. This could also be deemed by some the game of the day. This is the Sunday nighter. The Houston Texans head into Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Look where the Chiefs are, week 14. This is uncharted territory in the Patrick Mahomes era. They're sitting outside the playoff window at the moment. They're not leading the division. They're clearly behind the Denver Broncos by 4 wins. 4 wins behind. The also Chargers are 2 wins ahead. They're third in the division. Only the Raiders are behind the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are 6-6. 2 games out of a playoff spot. 2 games out of a playoff. This is not good for the Kansas City Chiefs here. The shot, they got to run the table. There's a team that can run the table. They can, but Houston is 7-5. They're 1 game out. You know, they're behind the Bills, who they beat. So it's key that they keep behind the Bills, because if they have the same record, it will leapfrog the Bills. This is a critical death blow to one of these teams that does not win this game. C.J. Stroud returned last week. I think we talked about it before the podcast started, that he was not necessarily that impressive, but this D continues to do great things for this Houston Texans team. They come into Kansas City as 3.5-point dogs, 41.5. Wow, this is absolutely a critical game for both these teams. Where do you see this play out?
You know what? I've said it many times this year. Going against Kansas City for me is like going against Tom Brady's Patriots back in the day. I understand it's starting to feel like it's not the same, but you know, I like Kansas City winning this week. The 3.5 is a tough bet. You know, I think this is a back and forth down to the wire game, but I'll take Kansas City. You know, I don't want to go against, you know, Mahomes, who I still view as the best quarterback in the NFL. And give me the over 41.5. I'm more confident on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've agreed a lot on a lot of the plays this week. I think you have to have faith that, wow, the story's got to eventually, the good guy's got to win in the end, right? I mean, this is part 7 of the series that the hero has got to come through. He's down and out. Batman's he's down and out.
Back
Bane,
against the wall. Yeah.
He just broke his back, but Batman's back, and he's going to beat Bane up, or this movie's a flop. And I don't see this movie playing out where Patty Mahomes doesn't win in the end. I think that the Houston Texans offense will struggle to move the ball. They didn't have any problems moving the ball against Indy, especially on the ground, but they will against Kansas City. I just don't think they have enough offense to match up, or to account that they have an outstanding D, but at least 4 points is good enough for me to back the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'll take the same thing. I'll say for over 41.5 points. I feel good about that.
If Kansas City loses this week, are you ready to say they're done? I mean, I mean, don't really see. There's not many more games left in the season, right?
Well, that means there'd be only 4 left, right? I'd be very close to say they're done. Like, if they can't get a big win here against the Houston Texans at home, then they're in trouble. There's something wrong. There's something wrong with this team.
I'll say if they lose, they're done, and that's the reason why I don't think they're going to lose.
Right. And if they fizzle out this season, like, if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, you know, you got to think that I still have Patty Mahomes for a number of years. But I have to reshape this team. I think I have to say goodbye to Travis Kelce. I think I have to look at the way I've put this team together. I have skinny receivers that are getting injured all the time or suspended. Our running game, Kareem Hunt and Pacheco, are solid, but they're not, you know, dominant. They're not like, oh my God, I just ran for a Jahmyr Gibbs type of day here. I think they need to rethink how their offense goes. I think they will successfully, but it's an eye opener if they can't make the playoffs here. So I agree with you. Now we go on to the Monday nighter, which is a pretty interesting matchup. We talked about Justin Herbert having that broken left hand. They are 2.5-point dogs to the visiting Eagles.
Yeah.
Jalen Carter is out, big defensive end, tackle or end for the Philadelphia Eagles. That is significant. If you remember week 1 when he spit on Dak Prescott, that Eagles defense did not look the same with him out of the lineup. He's a big factor. I don't like the Eagles being a favorite here. Like, there's something not right with the Eagles, especially their offense. I'll take the Chargers. I'm going to take the Chargers on this. What's the over-under here? I missed marking that down.
The over-under is 41.5.
I'll take the over-under all day. Over.
Yeah.
So what do you think here?
I'm going to go against you, not with the over. I'll take the over, but I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know. I view them as that, you know, they are the reigning Super Bowl champs. And I just want to give them the respect that they're earned here. I kind of do. I want to see that the Los Angeles Chargers do it. You know, we were just talking up Justin Herbert early in the podcast. I want to see him have a great game here, but this is not about what we want. This is about what we bet, and I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles -2.5.
All right. So now that it wraps up the card for, we want to go skip to the awards here. So
Yeah.
don't look at it.
MVP.
Don't look at it. Yeah.
Okay, I won't. I'm not.
I want you to guess here. Who are the top 3 MVP odds from 1 to 3?
Stafford number 1.
No.
No.
Out is number 1. After
What?
last week's performance, he is out as number 1.
Then Drake May number 1.
Drake May is number 1 at plus even money, and Stafford
My
is plus
God.
105. So the bettors out there did not like and take kindly to, because Stafford had a piss poor performance last week.
Yeah.
He was beat up a lot, strip sacked, key interception. I didn't think he would drop that low, but he had such a poor game that I think people looked at the Monday nighter where Drake May came in and had a really good game against the Giants and
Wow.
put him a little ahead. So the odds are there. Who's number 3, you think?
Who's number 3? That's hard to say. Like, I know, I feel like Taylor's fallen out of the top 3. He's got to be at
He's
5
gone.
or 6.
There's
Yeah,
no
he's
running
gone.
back anymore. He has been kind of quiet the last 2 weeks. Any chance is gone.
Is it? I don't know. It's not Josh Allen.
He's number 4.
He's
So it's
number
number
4.
3. Who's number 3
Who would be better than Josh Allen this year?
right now?
And he obviously snuck up on us. I don't think we've talked about this guy.
Not
Have
really.
we talked about this guy?
Not really. Not. Well, keep in mind that Drake May is even money, while Matthew Stafford is plus 105, and the next third you're trying to think of is plus 1,400. So
Yeah.
it's not
There's
like
no
he
way.
is
There's no
closing
way
the
it's.
gap. Caleb Williams is number 5, and he's
wow,
like plus
that's actually pretty
5,000.
impressive. I can't think of the third off the top of my head. Yeah, it's not going to be Sam Darnold.
Show me
I don't know.
finish that sentence. Show me the
The money.
starts with an L.
Wait, what?
Show me the L.
I don't know who this is.
Show me the
wait,
love.
Who is this?
Love, Jordan Love.
Oh, Jordan Love. Okay.
Yes.
All right. I don't know. For me, it seems crazy to think of Drake May, NFL MVP. It just seems so crazy. I want to say that Stafford is still the right pick. I wonder if you agree.
I think so, but let's say here that Drake May has not had a poor game like Stafford did. I think there's time to play out. I don't know if Stafford's going to move up too much if he has a solid game against the Cardinals. I don't think there's much there
Yeah.
to impress people. I'm just trying to look at the rest of the games that the Rams have.
You're thinking we'd kind of look more at Drake May having a difficult game than over Stafford right now.
Probably. So like right now,
Yeah.
as an example. So here, okay. Stafford has the Cardinals this week. He's at home against the Lions, which I think will go a long way to help with his MVP situation. He's at Seattle, which is absolutely a critical game in week 16, and then finishes against the Falcons. So the MVP race, I think, is going to be not this week, but the next 2 weeks after this. So that's basically going to happen. How is he going to perform against the Lions and against the Seahawks? So that defense, he's already performed well earlier this year, but if he can do it again on the road, I think he locks up that MVP. The Patriots' remaining schedule is they have the Bills at home next Sunday. That's a huge matchup.
That's a huge one.
And-
If you know what I will say, if Drake May wins that one, because everyone will be watching that game, he's going to go up. But I would expect Buffalo to win in that game. So we'll see how that one plays out. Very interesting.
And then the Ravens after that. He'll be in Baltimore the week after that for Drake May. I think I missed a matchup for the Chargers. Sorry, the Rams, not the Chargers. The Rams also have the Cardinals. Who cares? The last week of the season. Nobody cares about that matchup. So those next 2 weeks, starting next week, are going to dictate, in my opinion, who becomes the MVP. And maybe Jordan Love starts, closing the gap if he has a strong game against the Bears. So we'll see there. So that's that. We've looked at this MVP race a few times. It looked like it was originally Josh Allen's to lose, Stafford to lose. Now it's Drake May who's kind of hanging on by a thread. Can Stafford get back in the race for MVP? We're going to find out. Anything else you want to talk about related to the NFL or any other sports or fantasy or anything else in life you want to provide wisdom to the audience out here?
Oh, I'll just wish everybody luck getting to the fantasy playoffs. If they're in a clinching week here, good luck in the playoffs, and not much else to say.
Well, okay. Well, I wish you luck in the 416, but we're in the same pool, so I don't wish you that much luck.
I think I'm second seed in that league, but I'm not sure.
I think
That's one of my better teams. I'm confident even if I don't get the bye.
All right. Well, anyway, best of luck for those other fantasy leagues that you have versus luck at the 416. I don't want you to have luck there. But we're heading into playoff time for fantasy. We're pinching close to NFL playoff time in real life. And we got a lot of things going. College football playoffs happening, NHL, NBA. World Cup draw took place. A lot of EPL action happening today. I'll be betting the 10 o'clock game, so I got to go and do some research. Overrated Experience. The pleasure's all been yours. We are over and out.
Austin from Ajax, out.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.